Surely Bluey is the kind of character we love to watch grow up, but do you know exactly how our beloved blue dog evolved? Join us as we review the life of our favorite blue heeler from her days as a tiny puppy to becoming an adult with her own baby.
Oh no.
Baby. Surely one of my favorite Bluey episodes is Baby Race, because it gives us the first glimpse of the cutest phase of the series' protagonist when she was just a tiny baby. Even her little diaper is super cute. When it's clean, of course. Bluey was a very sweet baby, and she was almost like all the other kids, drooling on the floor and playing with everything she saw. But she had some characteristics that made her different from all the other babies her age. For instance, while all the other babies could already sit, Bluey was still learning, and Judo was already crawling. And before she could crawl, the baby version of the little blue dog started rolling on the floor to reach her mom. Then, she simply started bum shuffling while her peers were crawling normally, and Judo was starting to balance on furniture and stand up. And after that, she finally began to crawl, but instead of moving forward, she crawled backward, as if in reverse. And while Coco, Snickers, and Judo were already standing up, Bluey was still only crawling backward. It was then that something amazing happened with baby Bluey, where she skipped the stage of balancing on furniture. That's because one day, while Bluey was crawling backward in the healer's kitchen, she not only stood up for the first time, but also took her first steps towards her mom, who was the person she loved most in the world. And throughout this entire phase of Bluey's life, she slept in the crib that was in the other room of the healer family, which later became the crib that Bingo also used when she was born, until she grew up and moved to her own room, as we see in the show. Bluey's childhood. When Bluey started walking, she was 1 year old. And after that, she eventually learned to run and began playing around the house. After growing a bit more, Bluey started learning many things and turned 2 years old, which was when Bingo was born. At this moment, the little blue dog stopped being the only child in the healer family and took on the role of big sister. But since she was only 2 years old, she probably doesn't remember much from when Bingo was a little baby trying to learn to walk, just like Bluey did in the Baby Race episode. And just like our protagonist already interacted with some of her future classmates at the mom meetups Chili attended, she probably played with them too, since they were little, as we see in some episodes, especially with Snickers and Coco, and of course Judo. When she got a bit older and turned 4, she started going to school and met many other classmates who became her best friends, like Chloe, Honey, Indy, and Rusty. It was also during this phase that Bluey and Bingo began sharing their own room. Muffin was born, and the girls got their first cousin. Sometime later, probably other kids joined Bluey's school, like Mackenzie, who came from New Zealand, and the Terriers, who came from Scotland, and also became friends with Bluey. And Mackenzie's parents became friends with Bandit and Chili too. And that's how Bluey grew up, getting smarter until she reached the age we know her in the first episode of the series when she's 6 years old. I know you love to play, so check out this awesome Sonic toy for you to have fun with. Click the link in the first pinned comment and take it home. Bluey, 6 years old. When we first meet Bluey at the beginning of the series, she is 6 years old and learning lots of new things, like how to ride a bike. Another cool thing we see the little blue dog learning after turning 6 is not to interrupt adults while they're talking, as shown in the episode Pony Ride. And unfortunately, she also discovers that not everything in life is fun and games, like when Bingo has to go to the hospital because she's sick, and Bluey and the rest of the family make a little video to cheer up the youngest healer. Or when she and Bandit rescue a little injured budgie near a tree. But even after going to the vet, the poor bird ends up passing away, leaving our protagonist very sad, even though it wasn't her pet. During this phase, we also find out that Bluey starts practicing some sports, like karate, moving from a white belt to a yellow belt. She also becomes a very good swimmer, winning a second-place medal in a competition, as we see in her 7th birthday invitation. At 6 years old, Bluey also gets new classmates like Jack and Pretzel, who join Calypso's school, and she makes friends with an older girl named Mia. And besides all that, when she turns 7, she has one of her most memorable experiences, riding in the front seat of the car for the first time in the episode The Sign, where she was a flower girl at a wedding for the first time, along with Bingo, Muffin, and Socks. All of these experiences were part of our protagonist's growth, paving the way for her to become more mature and move on to the next phase.
It's allowed. Come on, get in.
This is the best day of all my life.
Well, glad someone's having fun.
Teenage Bluey. In the episode Camping, Bluey has an amazing experience and ends up making friends with a new puppy in the series named Jean-Luc. Even though he doesn't speak her language, they get along great and play together all weekend. At the end of the episode, we see a teenage version of Bluey for the first time, where she is probably around 12 years old. This is about the same age as Mia in the episode Barky Boats. In that episode, we see Mia and Captain developing feelings for each other, since it's at this stage of life when these things start to happen more intensely. So when Bluey meets Jean-Luc again, she is at that stage where, besides making friends, she is likely starting to understand more about love. It's probably at this moment that our protagonist's heart will start beating faster for someone she likes. But who could it be? Jean-Luc, whom she met again years later? Or Mackenzie, whom she has dreamed about since she was 6 years old? This is definitely one of the big mysteries in Bluey that we want to be answered in the upcoming seasons. Honestly, I'm rooting for Mackenzie because I think they would make an adorable couple. What about you? Who do you prefer? Adolescence is the transition phase between childhood and adulthood, and it's exactly during this time that many important things happen. For example, it will probably be during this phase that Bluey will have to go to high school and leave Calypso School, along with all her friends. And honestly, I would love to see what this phase of Bluey's life will be like too. If you really love cartoons, we have some incredible news for you. We've launched a new quiz channel. In it, we'll test our knowledge about our favorite cartoons and movies, like Bluey, Peppa Pig, and many others. It will be a journey full of challenges, laughter, and lots of fun with Wavy. Don't waste any time. Subscribe now at the link in the description, or point your camera at the QR code on the screen and start playing. I'll see you there. Adult Bluey. After moving to a bigger school with a lot more people, our dear Bluey will have to start dealing with many different things like new subjects and the need to study and take exams, as well as having to pass them all to avoid repeating a grade. At the same time, she will need to start deciding what career she wants to pursue for the rest of her life, and thus choose which college she needs to attend. In the episode Surprise, we see in the Healer family living room that everyone was gathered on the day Bluey graduated in the picture on the wall. Similarly, during this same episode, we see the theme of motherhood addressed both by Bluey, who asks her mom if she will have kids one day, and by Bingo, who pretends to have 4 different babies in her play. And at the end of the episode, we had what is probably the biggest surprise of the show, as the title of the episode suggested, but we didn't pay attention. We see an adult Bluey arriving in her own car at the house where she grew up and where her parents still live. Additionally, we see that our little blue dog had a puppy who is now Chili and Bandit's grandchild and enjoys chasing his grandpa around, just like his mom did when she was a kid. But we still don't know who her husband is, although Bluey must have gotten married. However, from the characteristics of the little Healer puppy, we can guess who his father might be. After all, he looks a lot like Mackenzie when he was just a little puppy on the playground, but with his mom's blue and purple colors. Which makes sense, as this would fulfill the prophecy made by Winton when he said the two would get married. It's also the happy ending of the story told by Calypso many years earlier when the two buddies were playing with boats, and we see the 2 pieces of wood touch subtly at the end, representing that Bluey and Mackenzie would indeed become a couple in the future. If all this becomes reality and is confirmed in Season 4, we'll have more to tell about this relationship that turns into marriage and their first puppy. Thus concluding the process of our beloved Bluey's evolution and growth. She transitions from being a baby to having her own baby as an adult, which is very cool. As we know you enjoyed this video and want to have more fun, we're leaving you with these 2 videos. Just click on the one you prefer and enjoy!